Welcome to season 4 of Outstanding Women Leaders, Witty and Wise Conversations. I'm your host, Katie L. Leeds, founder and chief owl at Outstanding Women Leaders Professional Coaching and Podcast, an organization dedicated to empowering women in leadership, relationships, and life. OWL is on a mission to host 100 million witty and wise conversations that inspire you, disrupt the way you think, and stir your soul into action. That inspiration today begins with a set of rules to guide our conversation. Number 1, nobody gets to be wrong. Number 2, nobody gets to be right. Number 3, everybody gets to be vulnerable. Number 4 is my favorite. Everything is included. We do not edit here. This conversation is exactly what it needs to be in this moment in time. We've asked our guests to join us via video to allow us to create authentic connection. Eyes are the window to the soul. You will be seen here. You will be heard. There's space for you. When this conversation comes to a close, I will ask our guests 3 questions. If you've tuned in before, you know what they are. If you haven't, you don't want to miss them, but enough about me. Today, I'm excited to welcome Outstanding Women Leader, Winn. She is the founder of Human Design Certification Training for Professionals. Her books include Understanding Your Clients Through Human Design, The Breakthrough Technology, and Understanding the Centers in Human Design, The Facilitator's Guide to Transforming Pain into Possibility, and Understanding the Profiles in Human Design, The Facilitator's Guide to Unleashing Potential. She lives on Maui with her wife, Yara, and has recently co-authored a book using human design and essential oils, which, as you can see, my tabs here, this is one of my new Bibles right now. And essential oils for me were always something that people sold as an MLM. And I've had one experience since getting the book. I'm completely sold. So welcome, Robin.
Thank you, Katie. And thank you for your incredible work and your passion and your intention. It's really touches me.
Thank you. I love to start at the very beginning, the very best place to start, sharing a little bit about your life and how you landed in the work, and yeah, just sharing what it's like to be you.
Wow, we could take a whole day on that one. So, yeah, I was born the first girl after 5 boys, and to a military family on a military base, and then my little sister came along almost 5 years later. It was not an easy time for me. I didn't know who I was or how to be in the world. I didn't feel like I belonged in the world, for sure. I didn't feel like the world was my place. I didn't look around and see like-minded people. I had an inner wisdom and an inner knowing that I didn't know how to share or how to speak to. And yeah, I struggled. I have the gate of struggle in human design. I have the gate of struggle as my spiritual path. And I struggled, and I didn't understand why I was the one struggling, because I looked around and people didn't seem to have the same challenge about not knowing who they were, or, how to be heard, or, they just didn't seem to have the same struggles I had. So it was quite a confusing time. And I'll just talk human design here for a minute, because that's the umbrella I think we're speaking to. I'm a 6'2" profile in human design. So those first 30 years, I act like a 3, and I was experimenting, trial and error, and I was messing up in every way you could possibly mess up. I was messing up, maybe not every possible way, but I was definitely creating messes. And I was experimenting. We talked about this earlier, Katie, like I was experimenting being with women at a time in the 70s where that was not cool. In fact, my mom thought people who were gay belonged in mental hospitals. So it was kind of an intense, a lot of hiding, a lot of shame, a lot of missing in the world, not finding the landing that I had hoped when I incarnated, I guess, or thought would be here when I incarnated.
So you're here thinking that, you're struggling in everything. You don't know who you are. There's no purpose, meaning you have an open G center, I believe you said. So you're looking around, who will love me? Where will I go to find that? And then you turn 30 and get your wisdom. Did you have the aha moment at 30?
Well, I was 29, actually, my Saturn return. I had a moment where I realized that my life was a blessing and that it was sheer grace to be alive and that whatever happened was going to be okay. So it was a real turning point for me.
Wow. And is that turning point where you develop your sense of purpose? What happens next for you?
That's a really good question. You know, I still had the gate of struggle in my spiritual path. So there was still a lot of struggle. It wasn't like any struggles were over. I think it was really when I met Byron Katie in my late 30s that I realized that purpose wasn't external to me, that purpose was who I am, being who I am.
Oh, your G center got filled right up there. Did we
It,
know Byron Katie's human design?
it did. No, I don't know her human design, actually. Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting because when I coach around, and we're getting a little ahead because this is the work you do with coaches, is when I see some with an open G center, I let them know that you can try on different purposes and different identities. And this is where you play. This is where you know if someone is aligned in their own purpose and identity. This is where you know if they're healthy. And
Yeah, so I was trying a lot of different things, but it was the nothing that was the ground, right? No thing. So I can write the books, I can be an author, but still that never will fill that hole of being somebody. It will never work.
And to fast forward just a bit to the essential
Okay.
oils, I just, it comes up for me here. You have essential oil pairings for these centers. What's it like for your G center to experience oil healing?
Yeah. So let me back up a little bit and say I've done a lot of spiritual practices in my life, and I've done a lot of meditation, and I've done a lot of expansion into dropping the self and landing in Mahamudra or space or beingness, the essential self. So the open G for me is deep connection with the essential self, not with any egoic programming or identity. So yeah, to smell that G center oil it's like a flower bursting. It's the opening into the space. You know, you probably read this in my book, but I always use the quote from Emily Dickinson, "I'm nobody, who are you?" "Oh, you're nobody too." Great. You know, let's go have some fun together, basically. That's a rewrite, but that's the spirit of it. You know, aren't we lucky that we're nobody? The spiritual path is about trying to become nobody, and we start off that way.
I love that. So everything I always do boils down to having more fun. Gets to be my gift of inspiration for people. When we're not in psychosis, everything is inspiring and fun. So aren't we lucky that we don't get to be someone? We're born this way. Everyone else is trying to undo. That's a great way to make it more fun for people. So Byron Katie is a shifting point for you. And then comes along another shifting point. And this is what's just fun about humanity, is that we continue to shift and evolve so we don't get bored. you pick up human design and you're drawn to that?
Yeah, I was in let's see, 2006. I don't know how long we've been together, 20, 25 years I'd been with my wife.
Mm.
And I got a human design session in 2006. And suddenly I see her differently and she sees me differently. I thought she was lazy. She's a projector. She thought I was a workaholic, and it helped us to accept and support each other in our natural way of being. So that was a huge shift for me. And then that was 2006, 2013, as I said, when Karen Curry Parker's book came out, and I had access to the information. It downloaded in me. I started using it with my psychotherapy clients. And that was another big turn in how I saw people and understood people and related to them. It was deeply empowering for me as a therapist and for my clients to see who they were and not be caught in the victim story, because a lot of psychotherapy revolves around identifying as a victim.
It does.
Can.
Yeah. Yeah. It, bringing the power back to you is what I talk to my clients about. And really what I hear for you with your clients is you're able to give them their powers back.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that I see that. I actually wrote about that in my newsletter today. Like, I see that as one of the core transmissions of human design, is that it's about coming back to your own inner authority. As long as our focus is external, we're at the effect of the external world. We're trying to manipulate, control, change the external world. When we bring our authority back, then the world can be what it is, and we're in relationship to it. Then we have power with ourselves. We can keep trying to change out there, but we can never change it enough to match exactly how we want it to be.
And so then you get from human design to essential oils.
Right. So during the pandemic, right before the pandemic, my sister, who kept trying to get me to connect with Greg Toes, this essential oil fellow, and I was like, yeah, I have enough things. I don't need any more things. And she gifted me with a healing session for my birthday, which was amazing. And so I got on a call, took a day-long relationship class with him and the oils. And I was so surprised at the unconscious baggage that fell away in that day long simply by smelling oils. I didn't even know I was carrying this backpack, and it just like smelling the oils, the backpack comes off, like, oh my gosh. So then throughout the pandemic, every weekend I did essential oils with him. Angels and stress relief and the chakras and all different kinds of things. He's got this map that's unbelievable, from physical to spiritual to emotional to mental, working with your mind. And as I did it, I kept going to that open. It was like meditation. It was meditation. And the reason I could write 4 books in the last 4 years had a lot to do with going to that still point from the oils, like letting everything fall away and dropping into that openness. So yeah, when I was writing the profile book, I had asked him to make me an oil. I might have it here. Yeah. I asked him to make me an oil. It's called the North Star oil. I was having a birthday party, and I was having someone come and read the stars for my birthday party out by the beach. And I gave everybody a little vial of North Star oil, because I really love that people would follow their internal guidance, their internal North Star. And people love the oil. I love the oil. And I started feeling like, wow, could he do this? Could we work with this to align with our human design? So I started teaching him human design. We started talking human design, and he's like, oh yeah, I can do that. And I watched him. He's a very energetic being. I watched him shift as he heard the information and get clear on what oils for what. So then he made all the oils for the profiles. So to help align with your profile, the lines and the profile. And that was like, we did that for a year. That was incredible. So then we started talking about the rest of the chart, and he just made oils for, you would not believe, I had him up here, but I took him down. I don't know, over 150 oils of the gates and the channels and the centers and the circuitry and the authority and the types. So yeah, they're and now I use them in my training. I give them to every person who comes through the training, and we use them as part of the meditation on the different thing we're studying. And people are saying they're getting human design in a way they never got it before because of the oils.
Yeah, I can see that, because I had a sound bath experience where we picked an oil, and because I knew of eucalyptus going in I picked that. What I didn't know until after was that actually is for open solar plexus as well, which completely makes sense why my experience, I did see the white light, but it also made I felt the bottom of my diaphragm. I practice belly breathing. I'm aware that we practice 20,000 breaths a day. I want to make as many of them as possible, belly breaths. But there was a name of a woman who came up for me, and it was almost like like a euphoric laughing of someone that I didn't realize was still here. And it was so nice to say goodbye. And then I read about being the connections and severings. And then so just I'll be slightly personal here, but I have had regular bowel movements. That has been something I haven't had since 2019. And when I was reading about human design, understanding like you sometimes when we're struggling to process and get out emotions, that this is something that can hang out. Wow, that was one session, one essential oil that, and so of course I immediately was like, I need to see if this woman will come on and share her knowledge with my audience.
I love that. That is so powerful. I have a friend who, is quite out in the world in a big way, successful, and she wakes up in the night. She was waking up in the night with night terrors. And, looked at her chart, open spleen, told her to smell the spleen oil. She smelled it and slept through the night. It's interesting how simple shifts can be and how big an impact they can have.
They are. And in simple shifts, like actions speak louder than words for people. And it's, for me, the only thing that ever holds me back from charts is is someone going to think I'm crazy because I want to know what time they were born. And it's really a nice reframe of, I am crazy to not offer this to you. It's a difference. I also have a defined head, Anja. So it has been a huge difference for me just knowing. So the ADHD label that I got at my late 30s was lovely, because yes, I recognize I put zeros and ones for all my math scores in first grade because I wanted to read my book. We just didn't diagnose that in the 80s. But then understanding, no, I just think differently, that 70% of the population was really helpful.
Wow. So powerful. A little bit of information can bring so much light and so much salve, so much healing to our lives.
Yeah. So talk a little bit for us on how you're using this work now to support other people that are healers, because that's really the mutative force that establishes new order. I love what you're doing here.
Yeah. Yeah. So, first of all, human design is for everyone. Let's just be clear. It's for everyone. It's for parents. It's for coach. It's for everyone. And it is a powerful, I keep saying this, it's a powerful medicine. It's a very powerful medicine. That said, the way I think of and use human design is that we are offering a transmission that has the intention of shifting the trajectory of someone's life. That's the intent. It is not simply another system to slap on top of ourselves and try then and be like, oh, I don't like that. I like that. It's not about identity, ego. It's not about your ego. So, so the people who come into my training, I'll just start there, are people from a wide variety of walks of life. One woman is a death doula, and she's using human design to work with people in their death times. People, family, people who've died and haven't resolved their family issues with deaths. She'll look at the death time and work with them, for example. I have a graduate who works with moms who are going into the business world and want to keep intact with their kids and balance their work and their family life. So she's bringing human design to the parents. And as you said earlier, the kids of the parents, right? That brings a whole nother dimensionality into this, how to succeed at work and how to succeed at home. So I'm not sure if I'm quite answering your question, but it's powerful for anyone if you're using it with the right intention. I guess I just want to have that medical label on there, that label, because you can go around and start telling people what they are, but if they don't understand it, they can use it against themselves, or they can use it to, oh, well, this is who I am. I've had projectors say, well, I'm a projector, so I can't do anything. That victim program can grab hold of anything. So again, I'm not sure I'm being very articulate here, but from my humble perspective, human design is good for everyone who is available to hear, to be in truth with themselves.
Yes, I love the transmission to alter the trajectory of someone's life. I think anytime we bring a tool into someone's life, we do have that. But human design is not so much a tool, but it's your roadmap for trusting yourself.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
As an executive coach, for me, the most important thing when I was a teacher as well, the most important thing for me was that Tony Robbins had his "I'm not your guru," but like he kind of wanted us to have him as his guru. The best compliment I got last week from a client was to say, "I'm not doing this because I want you to be proud of me. I'm doing this because I am so proud of me, and I'm learning to trust myself in unprecedented ways." For me, it was permission. And so a lot of how I use the tool for my clients is just sharing a little bit of how I've used the tool for me so that they can learn through storytelling, my favorite way for people to learn. What are some, you do a human design certification training for professionals. You've written a book where you even talk about, if you're going to use this, you could just share maybe a couple of highlights of you're picking up this work and you're a coach, a do, a don't, something along those lines for people.
Yeah, so I'm going to kind of weave in a little bit response to what you said, the last thing you just said as well. With that, we're shining the light on, with human design, we're shining the light on what is the possibility of this person. I call it the entelechy. What is your entelechy, your innate possibility? And a lot of times people think of themselves in that story of like the eagle that was living with roosters and chickens and didn't know it was an eagle until an eagle came down and showed it, like, yo, you're an eagle. We're eagles. We're actually eagles. We're magnificent beings, bigger than we can imagine. And we have this self-concept most of the time of way less than that, a limited self-concept. So part of what human design is doing is saying, look at who you are. Look at your magnificence. And at the same time, oh, here are your challenges. No wonder you're struggling with that. That is natural to your design. That is not wrong. That is part of your Rubik's Cube. That's part of what you're grappling with in this lifetime. Not wrong, right? So that's what we're bringing to human design. And then we're asking our clients, we're inviting our clients to align with, to see where they're out of alignment, where they're in alignment, not as a shame blame, but as a just, oh, if this plant is in this soil, it's not going to thrive. Let's move it to this soil. So we're looking to see, oh, if I'm having these behaviors or my client is having these behaviors, they're not in soil that's thriving soil. How do we get them to align? How do we get the right soil, the right sun, the right conditions? The essential oils are an easy way to bypass the brain, to bypass the mental left brain conditioning. We've all been taught to go to our heads to figure things out.
Oh gosh, yes.
Right? So the oil goes just beyond that. That's what I said, this whole backpack dropped off that I didn't even know was there. We go beyond it and have a different experience. I was actually just at a CEU for ketamine, as a psychologist, and it was on ketamine. And it was like, oh, well, that's what happens in the brain when you do the ketamine. You go beyond the loops, the autopilot of your mind. And that's what the oils are doing. They're plant medicine. They're taking you past your autopilot mind and opening up a new way to see and experience yourself. And that reorganizes, like you said, with your bowel movements, it reorganizes everything. So do's and don'ts. Do find out your client's human design. Definitely find out your client's human design. Don't put it on top of them. Use it as a tool of conversation and experimentation and exploration. Have them look at the book, what's aligned and unaligned for them. Have them see for themselves and claim it themselves and understand themselves.
Yes.
This is never a tool to use as a top-down, in a top-down way. Or I've got the information. No, I don't know who you are. Let's find out. This is what human design says. Does that fit for you? Does that resonate for you?
Yeah. Amazing wealth of knowledge. If you've listened to the bonus episode, you know that you have an opportunity to get a free copy of the book. She'll send you for the ebook. She'll send you a link. The book is available, that just came out on Amazon. I'm also interested, as I read in the bio today, you've written 4 total books. And it's funny, you loved Karen Curry Parker. I'm a one line. I picked up Raw to start, and then found Richard after that. And I think Karen and her workbooks first just did not speak to me. And so what I love about human design is that when you find a new person that speaks to you, it opens up new ways of seeing human design. So the way that
I wrote the books I wrote because there wasn't anything out there that matched the depth of experience I had with, could understand and look at that lens. So yeah, each person is transmitting a different aspect of human design in all those different books. So find what speaks and calls to you.
Yes. And I recommend her to people, even though she didn't speak to me. And what speaks to my 5-1 line is the essential oil is just such an easy way, as you mentioned, to bypass the brain. I do teach my clients about SCARF, their limbic system, and the 5 areas. So knowledge is power. And then I also teach them they have a brain in their heart and they have a brain in their gut. And what spoke to me about this is I could do less speaking, more smelling. Maybe that will be my new motto. So with that, what is your superpower?
My superpower is seeing people, seeing them beyond what they see of themselves.
And
I've had a couple of experiences where when people have died, I've really seen how big they are, and it's been very humbling. So I bring that kind of ginormous seeing with people.
Is that written in your gene keys anywhere?
I don't know. I haven't taken the deep dive in Gene Keys. I've done the surface swim with them.
Well, then maybe you'll want to swim and maybe we can swim in each other's pools then and doing a swimming class for people there. Mine is hearing people's hearts. That's my gift there.
I can feel that with you.
What's your purpose?
My purpose is to be who I am and let that inner authority be a role model for others to be who they are.
And what's next for you?
What is next for me? I have about 10 books that are like babies waiting to come through. But right now, what's next is really launching the human design and essential oils and introducing that to both of those communities, and bringing them together in a way that I hope will, be a cross-pollination for those two communities.
That is so powerful. And I'm looking forward to being a part of your what's next and learning more about those communities. I got to get a strong foundation before I can go out and universalize anything. I always give my guests the last word. And thank you so much. My new tagline is going to be less speaking, more smelling, I think, as I am currently writing my book on my teeny book on my own superpowers. So thank you for all that you've given us today in the community. The last word is yours.
We have words swirling around this open space. So the last words really feel about that landing in, grounding in space, in spaciousness and beingness. And I really feel your heart. I feel your warmth and your enthusiasm, your clarity, your wisdom. And I'm really touched and moved by you and what you're doing. So thank you.